But so our last section of tonight, I found a site with some pretty interesting predictions for this season. They're not by me, even though some of them might sound like something I would say. They are not my predictions. They are from somebody. It's SirCharlesInCharge.com, even though that's my name, but it wasn't me. So I'm gonna read these off, and I'm gonna let you guys tell me how you feel about this. If it's something you think is truthful, or if it's they're crazy for this. And number one, you would think would come from me, but it's not. But number one says Victor Wembanyama will be the best player in the NBA by the end of the year. Yay or nay from you guys?
Nah.
I had a feeling that was going to be the answer here.
Jokic is too good.
Yeah, can I get that a hell no?
Give it what you want to give, whatever you want to.
No, oh yeah, hell no. What? Like Jokic? I guess Jokic and Giannis just they just disappeared, didn't they?
They retired.
They must have. They must have. I guess Luka Doncic just like he just took his hat. He just took his name out the hat, huh?
According to Sir Charles in Charge, he feels like Wemby's going to make a huge leap because to surpass those guys, it's going to take something I haven't seen. So yeah, I agree with you guys.
Do we get a chance to explain?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to like requirements for like not just top 5 but just top 10, like to be in those conversations, the things you have to do as far as impacting the game on like a multitude of levels, it's not that easy. Like I understand Victor Wembanyama's defensive upside, but that's not just enough for you to be ahead of. Like when we think about it, players like Jokic, Giannis, Embiid when he's on the court, Shea Gildress Alexander, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, even hell, even players like not Anthony, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are like in and out of these conversations because the competition is just that stiff. The competition, the things that you have to do on the offensive and defensive level, or if you're not giving it on the defensive level, your offense has to be like transcendent in as far as like a passer, playmaker, scorer, the way in which you score, does it translate in the postseason? Like those type of things get taken into account. And so when it comes to to Victor Wembanyama, are we by the end of the season, will he be in top 15 conversations? Absolutely. That's where Bam is. For you to exceed Bam offensively, you got to provide more because as it stands right now, as a rebounder, would we say confidently that Victor Wembanyama is a better rebounder than Bam?
No, that's the one part of his game that's not the greatest.
Is it a conversation? Is it even a conversation between Bam Adebayo's playmaking and passing or Victor Wembanyama's?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for these conversations to truly be entertained, you have to be that transcendent of a talent on one end while also giving like great production for you to get into top 10 conversations. And God forbid you want to get in top 5 conversations. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that the thing that you have to do. Bam is not in like anybody that has Bam in the top 10 is looked at with a side eye. And that's crazy, but that's how competitive those conversations are.
I was going to say maybe they meant center, but even there, he's not going to be the best center in the NBA.
Nope.
So yeah,
Jokic exists.
Yeah, Sir Charles, that's not my take, but yeah. So we disagree with him on that one, to say the least. And I agree with you, Players Ball. He said Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I mean, Victor's got a few more seasons before we can give him. He can even be in the conversation with that. I believe he's great. He's going to be good. He's going to be the face of the league at some point, but got to take baby steps. He's not quite there yet, and on a team that's not really poised to do much this season. So the second bold prediction, this one's pretty bold. The Golden State Warriors will finish as a top 4 seed in the West.
No, God.
Oh, so this is just these are hot takes. Hot takes.
Yeah, these
Shout
are
out
a
to
little
y'all,
spicy.
man.
A little spicy.
Y'all ain't messing around.
A little spicy, but yeah.
I'll leave it to Nas to explain why this is crazy. But yeah, no, it's a no for me.
There's a plethora of reasons why that is completely not happening. I don't really need to go into detail. I mean, everybody's reaction is plenty enough just to save the effort of time. But like, come on, man, this roster is kind of gross. Like, sure, they made some improvements and they might not be as bad as some people have them out to be, but come on now, top 4, that's ridiculous. That doesn't even need an explanation. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what Western Conference he's looking at, but yeah, that's
maybe about 6 years ago.
That's
he's
almost
looking at the Western Conference in 2022. That's what he was.
Yeah, that's almost impossible with the lineup that the Warriors will be putting out there to get a 4 spot, let alone a play-in tournament spot.
Yeah.
So we'll move on, and it's getting a little less spicier, but the Milwaukee Bucks will continue to fall apart.
All right, y'all watch your mouth. Y'all leave my Bucks alone. Y'all leave my Bucks alone.
I disagree. I think Milwaukee will be fine this year. I think they're gonna figure it out. Dame's gonna have to learn how to play with Giannis, and he had a whole season, so hopefully he learned from that and will bring that into the season.
It's funny. We was actually just talking about that in our Discord. They look so much better. Dame looks so much more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The pick and rolls actually look like they have, like they understand the importance of setting the screen and remaining there rather than just trying to get it over with so that you could get into the role position. Everything looks nice with what we have, but we do need some pieces. And we do need to release some pieces, like Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton needs to be traded this year. I don't know if anybody isn't aware, but Chris Middleton is an older player who's not as athletic, relies more on difficult shot making, which he's still capable of doing so. But at the end of the day, that really it really becomes a tough thing to rely on in the postseason because that's like that's a lower percentage shot, especially when you take into account that most of the shots he take is in the mid range, and that's one of the least efficient shots on the basketball court. So we need to make some transactions to be able to get our team better, younger, and if not younger, just more athletic.
Yes.
And so will we be worse? Will we continue to fall apart? No, I don't think so because we're not falling apart. Even last year, we didn't fall apart. We were still a 3rd seed. It was just Giannis went down, and even if Giannis is there, we're making it to the 2nd round for sure. And especially going up against the Knicks, I like our chances, especially as they fell apart injury wise. So Eastern Conference Finals matchup with the Boston Celtics, I actually view as just about where we thought we would be. So I don't think we're falling apart. Yeah, well, we should have been. So I don't think we're falling apart. But is there some things that need to be done for us to continue to make our destination a good place for Giannis to see himself in for years to come? 1000%. But that's every star.
Yeah. Big Nige, anything?
It's hard to put a lot of faith in this team with Doc Rivers as your head coach. Get Coach Bud back, man. What he's doing over there.
Fight back, Doc.
He is making that Phoenix Suns roster actually watchable. But that's neither here nor there. The only thing I can see that could make you guys fall even worse is just injuries. I think another year together, it's going to do you guys so well. Like you said during the preseason, they've looked better. And I've seen a few of their preseason games. Like they look better. They look more cohesive as a unit.
Mhm.
but Chris Middleton is already hurt. That's it's already starting. And I know you don't want to look at it now, but I'm telling you, man, Dame is right behind him. You can come back to this video in maybe about a month or so. Look, Middleton will come back when he comes back. I don't remember his timetable, but I know he's gonna miss the opener and maybe a couple games after that. I'm not sure. Dame Dollar,
He's on day to day right now.
he's day to day. And Dame
Yeah.
Dollar is gonna be day to day with him. Give me a month,
Ooh.
circle back. Look, these are older guys, man. The only person who I think is gonna be back and looking, like his old self is Giannis. But I think this roster, they do need to make some moves. But will they continue to crumble? I think injuries will be a large part of that. And of course, the blame game, Doc Rivers, who's going to deflect all the post game questions, blame his team, and take no accountability for some of his lack of coaching.
We'll probably have to talk about this on a later day, but I think you're being a little too hard on not just Doc Rivers, but just everybody. Like Dame played 50 something games last year, but part of that was they decided to rest him a little bit, and then another part of it is just he came into that season out of shape, and we knew he came in out of shape because of him dealing with his marital issues. Don't want to get too much into the off the court things, but also him getting traded like literally on the back end of the offseason. Like that's
Yeah.
a you know what I'm saying, that throws you for a whirl spin. And especially when Milwaukee wasn't one of the teams that he put Miami.
He
You know what
did.
I'm saying? He won in
Yeah.
Miami. I think that was something that I think all of us as like Bucks fans and just them in the on the roster had to adjust to. They actually did pretty fine. And even for Giannis, like I understand like your thought process with Dame, him being older, but Dame doesn't have a game that's really that physical. And especially over the last couple of seasons, he's been even more perimeter oriented. And that's sort of what we need because Giannis handles more than enough of the interior pressure that we look for. Um, but I think for us, it's really just maintaining health going into the postseason. Even if let's say Dame plays 60 something games and Giannis plays 60 something games. He played 73 last year, but this year he's said in interviews during media day that his priority is to make it into the postseason healthy this year
Mhm.
because he hadn't had the opportunity to do that for the last 2 years. So let's say he plays 60 something games and Chris Middleton plays 60 something games. That will still get us as like a top 4 seed, if not just four.
Yeah.
And that's still fine because that's still home court advantage, one. And then two, that would leave us with a matchup against potentially like Cleveland or Orlando. I like our chances against them. And so like I think for us, you've been a little too hard on the stars, specifically Dame. And then for Doc, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, bro. I understand the lack of adjustments, the narrative around that, and it's true. Not saying that it's not a true narrative, but at the same time, that's the case for a lot of coaches, bro. Like you don't get in his coaching style doesn't get exposed into the second round. It's not a coincidence that his coaching style doesn't get exposed into the second round for just no reason. Like typically the best coaches in those conferences, the Eric Spoelstras, who he religiously get exposed by, Ime Udoka in 2020, no, in 23, Joe Mazzulla, like those type of coaches, they adjust, especially
Mhm.
defensively. That's
Mhm.
right up the kryptonite of what Doc Rivers is. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna make adjustments on the defensive end. He's not making adjustments on the offensive end. So then that ends up getting him in the end. Where I think that we're fine, we actually have the pieces that can be able to wing it. See, when he played on Philly, he was playing, it was a James Harden that had dealt with a hamstring injury, so he couldn't be able to create like he used to.
Mhm.
Add to that fact, Joel Embiid was hurt. So he damn sure couldn't give you the mobility for creation like he did in the regular season. So you had to rely on Tyrese Maxey to bail you out. For us, Dame isn't dealing with a hamstring injury. He had like an abdomen injury and it was like a sprained Achilles and they stopped it. Like as soon as he felt something like off, they immediately shut him down for the rest of that postseason against Indiana because it's not worth it. So we don't have to worry about that. And even with Giannis, they stopped him as soon as he sprained it in the Celtics game before the postseason started. So he ain't dealing with that either. none of us is dealing with mobility issues. So well, I think we're actually in a good position to be able to fight through the Doc Rivers non-adjustments because we have the personnel that can be able to figure it out on their own. And that's typically the way he likes to coach anyway.
I'm all for the Bucks winning. I'm a Giannis fan, so I want them to do good. It's gonna be tough, but let's hope they can pull it together this season. They play what tomorrow? They play Philly first, don't they?
Yeah, we play Philly. We play Philly,
Yeah.
but Philly don't have Joel
Yeah,
Embiid
they
and
ain't
Paul
gonna
George
have
ain't gonna be there, so we're gonna be
Embiid
fine.
or George. So
They might sit. I ain't gonna lie to you. We might sit out Giannis
oh yeah.
just because just because they're doing
Well,
it.
no,
Like,
I
why are
need
we
him
playing
because he's on my fantasy team, so I need him out there, please.
him? Yeah, I trade you Giannis. Giannis for Scotty Barnes.
Hey, you trying to take all my players? The little few I got. And players ball. I got a quick question. Do you think Paul George will accept his role as a third option on the Sixers? I'm waiting to see that, but of course we got to wait. But I want to see if he's going to accept being a vet third option this season, because I don't think he's going to take to it as well as some people think he will. The next bold prediction, and this one I think is we're going to agree with. The Minnesota Timberwolves will take a step back after a Western Conference Finals run. We probably all agree with that.
Yeah.
In his recent career. Okay. So next one is the New York Knicks will win fewer regular season games than last season. What do you guys think?
Do we know how much they won last season? Kind of curious. I forgot.
I can pull it up.
Because I want to say what were they?
They were
I don't remember what their win total was, but the question was, what are they going to win more? Or
they were
less?
50 and 32. It says they're going to win less regular season games.
I don't think they'll win. The only way I can see them winning less than 50 games is like, again, if like an injury happens where one of the key guys like Brunson goes down. But I think this roster's constructed in a way like it's built for the regular season. Like how you guys had mentioned earlier, it's kind of got like a Boston Celtics kind of clone to it in terms of the wing versatility. I think the way that this team plays is tailor-made for the regular season, but their matchup, which eventually, like we're seeing against Boston, I just think they're a little on the smaller side. Like they have the versatility that Boston has. They check those boxes, but when they actually match up to the original, they're just a smaller, kind of inferior version of it. In pretty much all positions.
The Cat's giving them something tonight. He's playing pretty tough.
But yeah, I don't see them winning less unless a major injury. I don't know if they'll win like significantly more than 50 games. I think they might hover maybe around 50, 52, 53. Like they're not going to go crazy in the regular season, but I don't think they'll go below 50 games.
Oh, Players Ball says 49. Oh, he says less this season. Well, I know they're not winning
the Knicks? Is he saying the Knicks or what?
Yeah,
he said the Knicks.
49. Oh wow,
that's low. That's get it though, ball. But I don't. I mean,
how many games did they win last year?
50.
I don't see why they wouldn't win 50 or if not more.
Right.
Well, I know they won't be winning this game tonight, so.
Yeah, so long for my hope.
Yeah, unless they have a crazy comeback, they're not winning tonight. So we'll move along. This is number 6 bold prediction. It will finally click for the Phoenix Suns, and they will make a Western Conference Finals run. I see that face. The Phoenix Suns will get to the Western Conference Finals this season?
No, I no. Like, I like what they're doing, and when your quote said like they'll put it together, I think you'll get some better basketball. Like, you don't see
Okay.
like the ISO between KD, Booker, and Bill, them operating in the same spots, kind of having redundancy in the offense. I think with Bud, obviously, I'm seeing better sets. We'll see how that
Mhm.
looks throughout the regular season. But when we talk about Western Conference, nah, they just again they don't have an enforcer. They don't they still lack like the necessary rebounding. Even though they got, was it Tyus Jones, right?
Who
At the point guard position that they just signed. It's one of the Jones brothers. I'm pretty sure it's Tyus
you,
Jones, but
yeah, it's gotta be
he
because his brother Trey Jones is playing for the Spurs.
yeah, that's right. I was making sure. But yeah, and that is a good addition to the point guard position. But
That's
again,
what I need.
is he going to be able to, set that table up to that degree that, a guy like Kevin Durant's going to come off the ball to let him run the offense? Devin Booker, like, no, these are guys who get that board and they go. They're not looking there. I'm not looking for Tyus Jones. Like, this is Tyus Jones we're talking about. So I think if they had somebody who garnered their respect as the traditional point guard, maybe even to a lesser extent, maybe Chris Paul, Draymond, like somebody. I'm just throwing names out there because I don't know the ideal point guard for this team right now. But if they would address that and the rebounding and maybe get like one or two, maybe like grittier defenders, I think you could maybe see them make a case. But without those things, I can't see them
Mhm.
getting past the first round.
I genuinely don't see any way that the Phoenix Suns can win a championship. Like their identity just there's no defense. There's no defensive intensity or consistency there. Like even for KD, like you're relying on what is he 30 something now? You're
Who
relying
who
KD. You're relying on
KD is
you're relying on a
30.
36-year-old. Is he
I
36?
believe
Yeah,
he's
you're relying
36.
on a 36-year-old. He just turned 36 in September. So
Yeah,
shout out to KD. But you're relying on a 36-year-old to be like your primary like rim protector because you're not getting it out of Nurkic, and that's the problem right there.
yeah,
Now add to the fact that you're asking a player like Devin Booker to be one of your primary perimeter defenders, and even though I think he's improved, that's not a strong suit. So you're having people be things that they just aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially, and this is key. You're asking KD to be the best player, KD or Devin Booker, depending on which
yeah,
one you think is better. You're asking them to be the best player on a championship team, which neither of them is capable of being at this point in time. And that's that's really the gist of like their whole issue. And add to the fact that defensively they can get attacked in a multitude of different ways, and they don't have the personnel to truly make any adjustments. It's almost like you can get killed going to the rim, you can get killed on
mhm,
the perimeter, and you don't have the personnel to be able to do anything about it. And for me, I'm looking at the Western Conference alone, and there's a slew of teams that have the personnel and the schemes to be able to do pretty much whatever they want against the Phoenix Suns. And
exactly.
if they survive that gauntlet, you have Boston waiting for you. And truth be told, Phoenix currently ain't that much different from Brooklyn when KD was playing there and he got smoked in.
Yeah,
Ain't
I
that big of a
mean,
difference.
and
And so like that's the
yeah,
biggest problem. Like they don't I think when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, they're in that purgatory, like shout out to Naj, like LA, where it's like you have these players that have so much box office attraction that it doesn't make sense for you to give up on it so easily, but you ultimately already know where you're heading. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to win a championship. If you make it out of the second round in the Western Conference, that's already a successful postseason run.
yeah,
What are we doing here? What is the goal?
yeah. I was gonna say they're kind of like the old D'Antoni Suns, but that team was able to win a lot of games in the regular season, just couldn't win in the playoffs. This team, I don't see winning a ton of games in the regular season either. I mean, I think they'll be a playoff team, but them getting to the Western Conference Finals would take an act of the basketball gods giving them the perfect matchups each round. And even then, I don't think they could do it, because if you want to see scoring, they can do that in bunches. They got scores, but you can't stop nobody. And the Western Conference has guys you got to be able to stop. And if you can't, then most of them are also constructed well as a team, that they have guys that may not give you 20, but guys that can give you something on those nightly basis that will help you win games. So I just don't think, piggybacking on what you guys said, the defense is just not there. And I don't see them getting. I thought Royce O'Neal would be a good pickup for them last season. He was okay, but he didn't move the needle at all for them, and they pretty much fell apart in the playoffs. So I see the same thing. Minnesota just toyed with them, and if they play Minnesota again, I think the same thing will happen. So
It'll be the same result.
Yeah, they're going to get
And
brooms out and sweep them. So
facts. And you mentioned Phoenix back in back in the day with Steve Nash and them. Man, part of the reason why they were even, it was even fine with you, like, thinking like ideally they could be competing with the San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers, was due to they brought something that nobody else in the Western Conference had an answer for it. They were really fast. They were first in pace.
yeah,
They were the best offense, like routinely one of the greatest offenses that we ever seen. And more importantly, because they were moving so fast and because they were getting efficient shots in transition so often, it made for an offense that could translate in the postseason. The Phoenix Suns currently are like middle of the pack, literally middle of the pack when it comes to pace. And most of their shot diet is by KD and Devin Booker, and it's
Yep.
coming from the mid range.
Yep. And that's a recipe for disaster.
And that's a recipe for disaster, especially when you're going up against teams like Minnesota, teams like OKC, and teams like Denver, who literally want you to shoot mid range, just because
Yep.
you already know on their end, they finna get a productive shot every
Yep.
single time.
Yep. Big Nines, what you think about that trade? You going to trade D'Lo for Bradley Beal?
Nah, man.
You
If
good
I'm
with
Phoenix, it doesn't move the needle. You could honestly say Phoenix might get worse depending on who you ask, but it doesn't really address playmaking. It doesn't address defense. It's a net negative for both sides, honestly.
If I'm Phoenix, I would not even touch that. I wouldn't even take the phone call. D'Lo's going to mess all that up. Not that Beal's the greatest, but I think he fits a little bit better with what they're trying to do out there. So we're going to go through these last ones quickly. It is halftime, and of course, the Knicks are down by a good amount. And here's another one that I'm sure we can all agree on. The Miami Heat will finish as a top 3 seed in the East. Absolutely not.
No, no chance.
What you think, Casual? Are the Miami Heat a top 3 Eastern Conference team? Or he might be off. So we're gonna move. We're gonna keep moving. Now I'm okay. This ain't coming from me, but the San Antonio Spurs will make the play-in tournament. Absolutely, yes, they will. Still a tough Western Conference, but I say my Spurs will make it into the play-in tournament this season.
Nah, no chance. Y'all improved, I think, a little bit, but enough for the play-in. I still think the West is too
Clippers
low.
are going to be out. The Clippers are done for.
They're better at the play-in than y'all are, though. They have a better chance of making the play-in than the Spurs.
The Clippers?
Yeah.
No. Golden State.
Better than Spurs?
No. We're going to leave that alone because that'll be for another. We're going to show y'all when we beat Dallas on Thursday. So we'll show y'all. I see Player Ball says no, sir, but we'll show y'all this year that we are a team to be reckoned with. We might not be 6 through 1, but we're going to be in that play-in. Okay, he agrees with me. Due to Chris Paul. Yeah, Chris Paul's going to make a big difference.
Chris Paul going to play like 30 games before he goes down with some crazy injury. Come on now. You can't put your success on Chris Paul. He ain't going to play.
He ain't got to do much. He just got to throw it up there, lob it up to a guy with an 8'1" wingspan.
Y'all will win more games.
I just came back. What am I hearing right now?
Crazy.
What am I hearing right now?
The San Antonio Spurs will make the play-in tournament. Yes, they will.
I want you to really, really think about this. Really, you don't have to do this. I know you're a San Antonio fan, but like it's okay.
The Spurs. I mean, we got the greatest player, according to this, the greatest player that will be the greatest player by the end of the season.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that.
You think he'll be the best player in the world?
When it comes to this question, I mean, this
he said, "I believe it right now." It's crazy.
And we got the point guard. We got Harrison Barnes. We got Devin Vassell. We got a young core. A few veterans thrown in.
I'll send you a drug test at the end of the show.
Yeah,
I'll get you right. I'll get you right.
That's fine.
Hey, I'm riding with my team. We're gonna be there.
No, you're right. You should ride with the team, and let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy.
Players ball though is what he's talking about. So we got somebody with some sense in here.
All right.
So so moving right along, the next prediction, not bad. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win the NBA MVP. Ooh. I think since they snubbed, I don't think he was snubbed last season, but I think that his name's going to be on the radar a little bit more this season, especially if OKC gets that one spot in the Western Conference. I think unless Luka just has crazy season, I think they give it to Shai. What you guys think?
I'm trying to think.
Not much love for SGA.
I got love for SGA, but at the same time, it's like, bro, this is Luka's year. Like, there's no reason why Luka shouldn't win it this year. He got the team. He has the momentum. And based off of, the questionable trade that Timberwolves made, arguably the questionable trade, Denver not re-signing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, the stars aligned for the Dallas Mavericks to be a top 3 seed.
I think
so. Why he wouldn't win it this year? I don't see why Luka wouldn't get it. That's the only thing that holds me back from saying it. If it's not Luka, I'm open to Shai because Shai is the next best thing. Well, Giannis, obviously. Giannis, Luka, and then Shai. But I'm gonna say nay. I'm gonna say nay.
Big Nige?
Yeah, I think it's Luka's to lose. I mean, just narratively looking at how the NBA, and it's a media-driven award, this is his revenge season after losing in the finals, the way he did, the way that how they continue to talk about, his defense in particular, even though I'm pretty sure they held the Celtics to, I think, about 109 points per game that series. So they played very good defense as a collective unit. But
come on now. You know that wasn't the Dallas Mavericks. That was Jason. Half of them possession. That was Jason Tatum settling for side steps. Come on now.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the numbers do say that they held them to 109. So either way, but yeah, I think it's Luka's to lose. If Shai was going to win one, I picked him to win last year. I don't think you're gonna, even though we went back and forth on that one heavily, but nah, it's Luka's to lose in my opinion.
So is it safe to say Jokic nor Giannis will likely voters fatigue will kick in, and those two will probably not. So it's basically a 3-man race or 2-man race.
No, it has nothing to do with voters critique for me. I think that Jokic and Giannis just have no reason to even desire MVP at this point. I mean, Giannis is back to back. Jokic just won 3 MVPs, so like they're cemented in NBA history already. They have the All NBA. It's similar to Joel Embiid. You have done everything that there is to do at a superstar level, to where the only thing you need to be looking forward to at this point is getting
That
to the
ring.
postseason healthy, so
Get
that you
that
can win
ring.
another ring.
Okay.
Shea though, still in his younger stage, and even for Luca, he's still in his younger stage too. Like we got to
Yeah,
remember,
Luka
like
is
Luca's doing all of this.
way
This
younger
is only
than,
his, yeah.
and just for historians out there who like to compare, both Jordan and LeBron won MVPs when they were 25 years old. So, this may be Luka's time to do that as well at 25. But Shea, I think, is going to be definitely in that top 3. Oh, my man said he thinks the race will consist of Steph. Okay.
Come on now.
AD,
Where is this Steph love coming from?
Gracious.
Brunson, and Ja. Ooh,
Ja might be a sleeper though. I'm with him on Ja. Like he won't win it, but I think he could be top 5 if he takes Memphis to like a top.
I forgot
5
about
team.
Memphis. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for San Antonio. Okay, yeah.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you. Shay's production is gonna outweigh Ja's clearly.
But I think
Even I wouldn't pick him over. I wouldn't
the
pick Ja
eye
over.
test. If
It'll be in discussion.
Memphis goes from where they were last year to say 3 in the West, I think his name's going to definitely come up because
His name will come up. Like you remember when CP3 led the Phoenix Suns to like the best record in the West?
yeah, Nope.
And he was like 9th in MVP. Like, yeah, his name will be in the hat, but he can get a shout out.
I think
he's
because
too important to that team to go under the radar. Like they would make such a big blurb about him, and because of his namesake, prior to all that shindig that went down, like he's a big enough name and a big enough draw where he'll be talked about like Anthony Edwards is, like talking about like not face of the league, but he's one of the polarizing figures in the league because of his relatability with a lot of like fans. And
I think
he would have to get Memphis to like the #1 seed though, for them for his name to ring louder than the other people that we named. Like Luca, his numbers are just so monstrous. Again, like we spoke earlier, he has the momentum, and he's primed to have a top 3 seed locked in. So he's there. Shea, same thing. Like his team got even better over the offseason, and he has momentum as well. And he came second last year. So he's prompt to be in the top 3 seed. So he's there. Like, and Anthony Edwards, even like everybody has been talking through this off season, especially with him in playing with Team USA with LeBron and KD in them. Everybody has been like he's been in the news nonstop this offseason where
Ant-Man,
he's built a little bit of a namesake. And then we also got to remember when it comes to Ja he's still fighting an uphill battle as far as like getting his name in good graces because of the fiascos with the Instagram live. So he has to come in and show that he's ready to put in work. And for him to get in MVP talks, he would have to get them all the way to the #1 seed. Not saying it's impossible, because just the year before he got hurt, they were the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. So it's not impossible, but that is the tall task that's ahead of him for him to get a legitimate shake at winning MVP.
I think they'll give him the Jalen Brunson treatment if he can get Memphis to like that 3 seed, around that seed come this season, because we saw what Memphis was last year. They were just bottom feeders almost for most of the season, and then he comes back the next season fully, and they're a #3 seed in the West. So it's kind of, and even the way Shea got his consideration this past year, because OKC went from the play-in to the #1 seed. Now, that was a bigger leap. That was a pretty big leap. But if I feel like if Ja can get them, around that top area out west, there's no way they won't put him in the top 5 at least in MVP, considerations. I just think they're going to look at that and be like, he's a game changer, so he's got to be up in that kind of area. So because I know Big Naj wants to get to these games. Boston is up by 25, so you're pretty good on that one. But I mean, I know you want to see Bronny get his first NBA points. We got 2 left, and these should be pretty quick. The OKC Thunder will win the West. Do we agree? I partially agree, but I think there are some teams that can challenge them for that spot.
I got yeah. Matter of fact, I got hell yeah. Matter of fact, I'll put money on it. Yes.
You got to Charles Barkley guarantee it.
Guaranteed.
Oh, okay. So we have a guarantee that OKC will return as the best team in the West. Okay, Big Naj.
They have the defensive perimeter. Like, don't get me started. Go ahead, Naj. My fault.
They're pretty loaded. I need to see Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, even though he hasn't looked the greatest in preseason, he did go down with was it a wrist injury?
It was a sprained wrist.
Yeah, sprained wrist. So he's out for a couple weeks. Got to monitor that situation because he gives them the toughness in the interior that they have been lacking. Even though Chet's a great shot blocker, very thin frame and susceptible to the Nikola Jokic's of the world and things of that nature. So I'm not dismissing them, but I don't know if I'm ready to give it to them yet.
Are we talking about them making it through the regular season? You're saying through the postseason?
Nah, because you said that OKC was going to come out the West, right?
Yeah, come out the West in the postseason. Yeah.
They still got to see that man Jokic, man, and they Minnesota threw a whole team at him, and they still almost beat them. So I get it. OKC all world, but I know Denver has not done the necessary things to be warrant for championship consideration, but I think they'll make some moves, and I think Denver will be right back in the hunt. And then you still got Dallas; they retooled. I'm not ready to give it to OKC when I just saw Dallas beat them, and I know the greatness of Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. We'll talk. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it later.
Oh,
as we go through the season.
We got to come back. Yeah. We'll have these conversations throughout the season.
Y'all boys into believers.
We're going to have you back as much as we can. So, last one. The Boston Celtics will not repeat as NBA champions.
Injuries.
To me, that's the only way I can see it. That's the only way they don't.
Only way I can see them not repeating is if either they see Minnesota or they see OKC.
You think? Okay.
Wait.
So you basically say no team out east can beat them, which I agree with.
I think even my Bucks is gonna it's a tall task. I would be lying if I said that it's gonna be an even playing field. The Celtics are just that talented, and especially if this is last year, I'm feeling more confident about my Bucks. But because it's this year, and they had a year under their belt, they look I know you're not watching right now, Naj, but they look so dominant right now.
Yes,
they literally whatever they want, they're getting right now.
I mean, Drew Holiday killing them. They just,
yeah. So I'm God. I'm gonna go with yeah. I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no.
And that's some good defense, man. That team is.
This is some good defense they playing right now too, and this is without Kristaps. This is old. How old is Al Horford? How long is he gonna play like this?
I know.
The Godfather.
Yeah, Boston. I don't even see a Western Conference team. I'm a slight Denver fan. They beat them twice last season, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat them in a 7-game series. OKC, if they can just gel well, I think they can make it interesting. It'll be way tougher than it was against Dallas. Dallas, I don't have a lot of hope in Dallas. I mean, I think they're good, and I think they're going to be a top Western Conference team. But I think the stars aligned for them last season, and even seeing Kyrie kind of shrink in the finals, I think that's who he is, and I think that's who we're going to get. You know, no matter what happens, they're just not the team to do it. And anybody else out west, Minnesota, I don't know. I have to see some improvement from some of those other guys, Jaden McDaniel. Rudy Gobert is going to have to give him something offensively. I just got to see the whole package. But I think this is Boston's championship to lose. And if I had to pick a team out east that could beat them, I wouldn't pick a team. So, yeah, I think Boston is just that team, and it's theirs to lose.
If there was a team if there was a team in the East that has the potential to beat them, God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Don't tell Zeno I said this.
Philly.
If there was a team that has the best potential to knock off the Boston Celtics, it would be Philly. They have the interior presence, the dominance, the coaching that makes the adjustments on a game-to-game basis to battle Joe Mazzulla and really outdo Joe Mazzulla. Like Nick Nurse's squad is kept like a top 5 head coach, really top 3.
Then I told you last year. Hey, that's what I said last year. Big Nines didn't believe me.
They have the perimeter shooting with Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre coming back with his defensive ability. Like they have the pieces, they have the interior pressure. I mean the rim pressure, the rim protection, so that it makes Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to be far more perimeter orientated than even those guys. And I'm talking about dudes that just be settling for threes at times. Even they are comfortable with. Yeah, I think Philly is probably the one team, if healthy, that could be able to knock them off. But that even them, like a lot of things have to go their way.
Jason
It's just an
Tatum.
uphill battle.
I'm sorry. Jason
How
Tatum
many
is
points
on
do they
tonight.
have?
Who?
How many points do they have right now?
Man, Jason Tatum he's got playing with a chip on his shoulder tonight. He ain't missing from 3.
Hey, is it fair to say the team that would beat Boston has to be well balanced offensively? That they're not over reliant on just one part, one aspect of their game.
They can't just be a 3 type of team. They have to have some inside presence.
And good at rebounding too.
Yeah, they got to be able to rebound.
Them second chance points kill teams. But yeah, I would say the same thing. Philly would be the team that I think could stand in Boston's way, assuming health. They have to be healthy. If they're not, which this is why I wouldn't pick Philly to beat them. But you're telling me one team out east, I would pick Philly. But if they're healthy, they got all the pieces to do it. They got the recipe. They got the best, mismatch of the series with Joel Embiid. But you got to see it. And I don't trust in Embiid's health, and I don't trust in Paul George's health neither. So that's why I wouldn't pick them if you asked me today in this 7-game series.
Okay, Mikal Bridges is playing too, but I think out east it's just they're racing for number 2 and Western Conference Finals exit.